Beatrice, when you were 21 years old, you had an impressive out-of-body experience. Would you tell me how this all happened? Yes, it was over a weekend. I was quite tired and laying face down on my bed. The father of my children was watching TV and I heard everything. I hadn't yet fallen asleep, but suddenly I heard a noise in my left ear, and this was a very loud noise. It felt, in fact, quite unpleasant. Thereafter, I was sucked out of my earthly body, and I couldn't do anything against it. I left my body, whereupon I saw myself from the outside lying down there. So I asked myself, what's that? What is this? This is not possible. I saw myself lying on the bed, and when I turned around, I saw Philip. I even saw what he was watching on TV. I found myself at a height of about 2 to 3 yards. Then, when I looked straight ahead, everything was black. The universe, nothing was there. It was all black. And I was quite frightened and asked myself, what is this all about? I had never had an experience like this, so I said to myself, perhaps I have to turn around and then I might see something else. So I turned around, but I was still seeing everything in black all around me. But then, from the right side, I saw a light arising, and there was something that was open. I will try to describe it the best I can. There was something like a black tunnel, and at the end of it, a light was arising. I was moving through this tunnel, where I met 3 souls that were standing there. In the back, there was the light, and in front, I saw the 3 souls. I knew that in their midst was my grandmother. I really felt this. The other 2 souls were waving, and I tried to approach them. I felt so much this love. It was all full of love, and it was such a pleasant feeling. I wanted to approach these 3 souls, but they told me, not in words, but from the heart, no, your time has not yet come. You have to go back again. But I didn't know how to get back. How was it possible for me to go back? But what I knew was that I couldn't move any further. Nonetheless, I said, okay. Then I turned around again, and again I saw this blackness, and I was really afraid. Well, thereupon I saw myself again lying on the bed. I asked myself, how could I possibly get back into my body, and how to manage this at all? This was just simply not possible. So subsequently, I strongly concentrated myself, and then, you won't believe this, but I slipped into my little finger. I don't know how to explain this. There are no words to express it. But thereafter, I went back into my body through this little finger. I was really compressed in my body, and this was not fun. It was almost painful. Then I was back in my body, and this felt very constricting. I felt myself to be heavy, as if I weighed 2,000 pounds, and this indeed was not a pleasant feeling. Some minutes later, I went to Philip, and I told him everything I had just experienced, and also that I saw what he was watching on the TV, and that I saw myself lying on the bed. So I told him everything I had experienced, and he believed me. Indeed, it was all an exceptional experience for me. Before this experience, I used to be afraid of death, but afterwards, this fear was gone. I know that there is still something after death, something that is full of love, and I felt this as something divine. I have no words for it. Unfortunately, I find it difficult to describe all of this. Yes, indeed, It was like a diamond. It was so marvelous. 4 years ago, you had another particularly impressive out-of-body experience where you met a being. Tell me about this. This experience was also quite something remarkable for me. So I was lying on the couch watching TV. Obviously, this usually happens to me when I am watching television. So this time, too, I left my body through my head, whereupon I found myself within something like a big tunnel. And this was a big gray tunnel. It was very big, very huge, and very high and wide. And I was there alone, and it didn't feel very good to be there. It was somewhat weird, and yet I was frightened. I was a bit, well, so I was really outside my body. But also, in this state of being, I had a body, but I don't know what it consisted of. I wasn't walking. I was, how would you say, I was walking along or maybe floating. Then a man came out from the right side of a black corridor, and this man was wearing a gray sweater with a hood. He approached me, and I got scared, and I said to myself, ooh, and I asked myself, what should I do now? Because I couldn't get away. I was standing in front of him. He came closer to me, and we were looking into each other's eyes. I saw his face. It was all pale and white. He looked very sad, and I felt very sorry for him. He was about 25 years old. Then I was instinctively looking into the soul of this spirit being. I was looking into his eyes in order to find out if he was nice or not. And I realized that he was indeed very tender and nice. And then he spoke to me in English. He asked me, is this the first time you meet someone like me? Is it the first time that you see someone like me? And I said, yes, this is the first time. And then he said, would you like to punch your fist against mine, just to check? Would you like to check this out with me? And I said, okay, let's check it out. And then we punched fists together. We found out that he didn't have a body and that my hand passed through his hand, and that was quite strange. And I said to myself, wow, what's that? And thereafter, this apparition was gone, and I was back in my earthly body. Beatrice, do you have an explanation for what this man wanted from you, and why this encounter happened to you? Well, what I'm thinking is that I was in an in-between world. I knew that he was dead, but he wasn't in peace, and I felt so sorry for him. He actually didn't know where he should go, and he was, as it is often said, he was lost. He was a lost soul. Actually, he was lost, and I hoped that I might have been able to give him some love. What influence did these experiences have on your worldview? It's very important on earth to give love, to be understanding. I know that here on earth, I have to have certain experiences. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know that love is the center of everything. This is for sure. And I know that afterwards I will return home. I also know that carefulness and everything I am doing on earth is important. So you believe in life after death? Yes, that is for sure. I told God that I don't want to return to the earth because I would like to stay over there. This is my actual homeland. Yes, indeed. This is the last time I will be on this earth. Thank you very much for the interview. You are very welcome.